illnesses?
It depends on which type of condition, but stressors can be many. And we have what are called entry events. Entry events are good things, like you might get promoted at work. But for you, you doubt your capability to deal with that situation, because stress is defined as a situation where you doubt your capability to deal with a situation, either personally or socially. So then you have been promoted, or you have gotten you got married, and now that becomes a stressor. The opposite is also true. You may lose the job, you might drop out of school, you might be divorced or widowed or something like that. You might lose a family member, and that can also can be a trigger. In addition to that, we are not just talking about the environment. Remember, we are wired, we are genetically wired. So we are related to each other because we are genetically linked. So for example, you have a relative, or in some conditions, you have several relatives who are suffering from a mental disorder, then the risk of you suffering from mental disorder is quite high. What about adverse childhood events? The fact that sometimes you have homes where people are fighting physically, emotionally, people are having tension, sometimes children are neglected, there is physical abuse, you might have a mentally ill relative, you might have somebody who has gone to prison, you might have watched somebody slap the other one. So all those adverse childhood experiences do contribute to mental illness. So I would say it's a combination of risk factors. Mental illnesses are not communicable, so by sitting next to Memphis, she cannot get what I have.
Yeah.
So then what happens is, non-communicable diseases, you have risk factors. You don't have causes per se, you have risk factors. So now, because of the risk, including substance use, it can actually trigger an underlying mental illness. Yes.
All right, now let's take a look at this year's theme. It says where to start, and it begs the bigger question that many people are asking: how can we begin the journey towards mental well-being? Memphis, this is this year's theme, 2023.
Yes. Where to start towards your mental well-being? I could say start. Start by prioritizing yourself, listening to yourself. Listening to yourself in a way that you can be able to realize when the body has said, no, I have had enough and I cannot be able to proceed. What Daktari has said, these stressors that are going to stretch so much that you develop mental illness, as she said, there could be an underlying issues, especially if in your family tree there is mental illnesses. So if you realize you are stretching beyond what your stress levels can be able to take in, then it's time to just take a sit back and start reflecting to see what could be happening to me. The symptoms that Daktari talked about, you're starting to lack sleep, so it's time to start listening to your body, listening to what is this telling me. You have altered your routine, for example, of sleeping. You are not taking, you're not taking the meals the way you're supposed to be taking, probably overeating or undereating. You need to start listening to yourself. And one of the things that we dissuade ourselves from, or people from, when we have these discussions, as Daktari said, you will lack sleep today, and you're like, I am having a mental disorder, because that is what they said on TV.